Hi, my name is Nicole Chavez. I'm an infant development specialist with Life Steps Foundation, and today I'm going to be talking with you about routines in your child's life, why they're important, and how to establish consistency. So, first of all, why are routines important? Well, routines provide a feeling of safety and security for children because it allows them to know what to expect during their days. Being a child is often very confusing. There's a lot of different things happening that you don't have any sort of control over. So it can be really helpful to know you have a predictable series of events that's going to happen for you during your day. This kind of feeling of safety can help set the stage for children to feel happier and be more willing to behave and cooperate during the day as well. I know that we all have our own routines as adults, and if they get, shifted or changed suddenly, that can be very jarring for us, and we are full grown adults with abilities to self regulate. Children don't have that same capability innately ingrained in them, so it can be really helpful to let them know about changes in advance. So, how to establish a routine? Well, first of all, you want to find a pattern that works in your day. So, let's say that maybe your child wakes up and then they have a bottle, or maybe they wake up and then they have breakfast with the family, and then maybe they go to school, or maybe you go to a circle time. Maybe after that circle time, you guys play at home, you have lunch, like your child takes a nap, they wake up, they play more, or they go, stay with grandma for a couple of hours, kind of whatever your routine is, figure out what kind of logically follows for you and try to stick by it in a pretty predictable sequence each day, because that can be really helpful for your child to know what to expect. In in connection with this, also try to follow through with what you say you will do. If you set a limit in the house, try to follow through with it. So if you say, okay, after we, have breakfast, we're going to brush our teeth, rather than kind of have that tug of war back and forth every day about whether or not you're going to brush your teeth, deciding most of the days to just be like, oh, never mind, this is too tricky. If you try to stay consistent with it for at least a couple of days, your child's going to know that that's just something that consistently has to happen, and they're going to be much more comfortable with it being in their daily routine, because they'll know that when you say that it's time for that, it's time for that. That can even be a limit as small as like, okay, only one applesauce pouch before lunchtime today. And then they'll start to ask a little bit less once they know to expect that they get the one and that's it. Also, it's important to explain changes to the routine as they come. So if there's a big event happening, tell them in advance. Like if you have family from out of town coming to stay, or if your child is going to be off of school for a little while, let them know that that's going to be happening so that they are not surprised by waking up the next morning and whatever that big change is already happening. So try to let them know in advance in a calm way. To help your child understand their routine, try making a visual schedule. Here I have an example of a visual schedule that has, wash your face, get dressed, have breakfast, brush teeth, very simple images, and you can put them on a little board that kind of follows the pattern of what they do in their day. And that can let your child know, okay, I remember that we did this, till we took a bath. Now I need to do what? I need to get in my pajamas. And they're able to see it a little bit better and remember kind of what those steps are. And it can just help them feel a little bit more settled in knowing what's going to happen in their day. Another thing that can be really helpful is setting a visual timer that allows them to prepare for a transition. So instead of just saying, okay, 3 minutes and we're going to, put on our shoes and go to the park, you can set a little timer and say, okay, when this goes off, either for sound, or they have visual timers that like it maybe looks like an egg and it cracks open and a baby dinosaur hatches or something like that. Your child can see or hear the sound of the timer, and they'll start to associate that with being like, oh, okay, like this, now we're into a transition. Now it's time to move on to the next activity. And that can be really helpful for them to understand what's going to happen next. You can also try to use songs to help facilitate steps of the routine. So the cleanup song is a really famous example of that. You can also have your child practice their transitions during playtime. So pretend that the dolls are gathering their toys to go to a secondary location, such as school or the beach or to circle time. And you can say, what do your stuffies need to get together if they want to go to school? Should they get their backpacks, their shoes, their lunchbox? and kind of have your child be involved in playing that through, because that can be so, so helpful. Children really learn their best through play. Well, thank you. That's all for this this presentation on routines. Please let us know if there are any topics that you'd like to hear about in the future. Thank you so much for listening.